Today we talk with Attorney Charles Everage from Hunter Everage Law Firm, and he shared some very insightful information. When you're dealing with the wrongful death of a family member, there are all kinds of things you need to know. How soon you need to reach out to the attorney. What other resources are available to you? What if it's related to COVID? What happens then? What if it's workers' compensation related? What happens? What happens? There are so many answers that Attorney Charles Everage provided right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. You want to take a moment and listen to this very detailed description of how to handle dealing with the wrongful death of a loved one. Let's hear Attorney Charles Everage.
It's the Kim Jacobs Show.
All right, everyone, and we are here with Attorney Charles Everage. How are you today, Attorney Everage?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Great. Listen, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us today. People that are tuning in are very interested in knowing if someone in their family passes away and it's something that was out of their control and it wasn't their fault, what advice would you give the family members that are remaining to be able to get through that situation and seek the proper legal counsel?
Well, first of all, you're not alone. If whether you have family to support you or not, we're here to help. Definitely families that are in that predicament. Lean on your support system. I mean, it takes a lot to plan a funeral and to make arrangements. And if your loved one particularly has been touched by or taken away due to violence, and this includes, criminal conduct such as a driving under the influence, someone that has done something criminally. Most states have the victims advocates that really help them through the process, and they're also a good resource to lean on. As soon as you can. It's better to get an attorney involved. Just for example, just some things that you don't necessarily think about. If your loved one was renting a place, how do you deal with the landlord and removing their stuff from the residence? If they had a mortgage, how do you take care of that? And so we can definitely give guidance and reach out and tell you, hey, you don't have to move immediately. You step into once you set up an estate with the courts, you step into the shoes of that loved one that you've lost and can, take the appropriate actions, whether it's distributing money from bank accounts or dealing with landlord tenants, dealing with 401ks, things of that nature.
Deal with family that have died from COVID.
Okay. It's basically the same situation, except, of course, if you're the person that's responsible for taking care of their personal items, their effects, their clothing or things that may have come in contact with them in the household, you want to take precautions or hire an outside company to come in. But, it's the same process for that, because I've had several calls. They have a family member, the family member went into the hospital, and then they came out of the hospital with COVID. Did they get it in the hospital or did they get it somewhere else? And so it's really hard to identify family members that said, we couldn't have a funeral. We couldn't really have a funeral. We had to cremate, my husband, because we just didn't have the funds after he died. And I wanted to tell them, if I would have known that before the funeral, you could have had whatever $10,000 pays for, and they pay that out pretty quickly. So it really is advisable to get an attorney involved in it as soon as possible.
Well, listen, everybody, we have had some great information from Attorney Charles Everage and with Hunter Everage Law Firm. Their phone number is 704-377-9157. They are proud sponsors of the Kim Jacobs Show. And so if you have questions, please let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show referred you to them.
It's the Kim Jacobs Show.